I'm gonna have to deal with this thing right quick, so I gotta mute.
You're on live.
I have to mute for a minute and handle something.
Okay.
Welcome, people.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Tamara. I'm so glad y'all could join us tonight. We're going to have a real conversation, right? Just a real conversation about the issues. Y'all, I'm like sliding all over the office. A real conversation about the issues of the future of District 7. So many very important communities are a part of District 7 and neighborhoods that we care so much about. And so we really just wanted y'all to come on and talk to the candidate, Changa Higgins, for District 7. We wanted to know if you have voted yet. We want to tell you a little bit more about the voting, the early voting numbers that are actually came up after the last day of early voting as of the 27th. We're talking about the numbers. We're talking about, kind of the issues on the voting bills that are coming out right now to suppress all of our votes, Texas wide. But the major issue here and the major thing we wanted to discuss tonight is about District 7, the issues that are very important to District 7. And because it is a redistricting and a zoning year, it definitely revs up the kinds of input we, activists, organizers, working families, um, have to know about in this election cycle, this municipal election. So thank you, Sade. Hey,
Hey,
thanks for
girl.
joining us.
Hi.
Again, so I'm going to allow you to do a brief introduction. I'm going to allow the candidate, Changa Higgins, for District 7 to do an introduction. He is actually on a call real quick, but he's coming back. But again, thank y'all for being here. I'm so excited to have y'all. Let's get down to some real stuff. You know what I mean? Let's talk about what the issues of our district are, and how we're fighting for the future of District 7, and how our vote matters. You know what I mean? Our vote matters. This community matters. Comunidad primero. Let's do this. Go ahead, Shade.
I'm sorry.
Goofy. Goofy.
Living everyday
Goofy.
life, you have a lot of things going on in the background. I
Right.
wasn't ready. Hi, I'm Sade. I'm a lifelong District 7 restaurant resident and community activist. I ran for this seat 2 years ago, but I believe in Chonga. I've already voted. Early voting always matters. So he got my vote. I believe in everything that he does and everything that he's about, all the work he's done. I think he's the best person for the job. Not I think. I know he's the best person for the job. He can be bought, sold, traded. He's not gonna turn us out for the highest bidder. Um, and everything that's important to us, he's gonna make sure that it's addressed and taken care of. He's gonna make sure we have a voice at that horseshoe. So he has my full support. And believe me, just because he's my friend and I consider a brother, don't mean that I'm gonna let him not be accountable for what he say he gonna do and not hold him accountable. If he mess up, what you doing? Do I need to come down there?
Pull up.
I'm pulling up. I'm knocking on doors. Wherever that outfit's at, I'm knocking on doors to make sure he do what he say he gonna do and he's been held accountable. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now we do got some people in the studio that need to turn their cameras on. If you are going to be speaking tonight, or even if you're asking questions, right? Because the way Streamyard works is you tune in, we have our questions open. I mean, our comment section open. You can ask questions as we're going. And you can, if you feel like you want to say something, we can herald. I mean, we can talk about what you have commented on, and kind of make sure that it's a fair and balanced process here tonight. So if you do have questions, drop them in the comments, and we will make sure that they get answered. And if anybody else is in the studio, make sure you turn your cameras on, please. And thank you again, Sade. Before we even got here, we were championing you, and I know that you're an amazing neighborhood leader and asset to the constant struggle
Yes.
that we have in District 7. And I know that your support means a lot to the campaign because you're true to this. You're not new to this.
It's
Until
in
Mama
me. It
said,
ain't on
hey.
me.
And so so we're gonna make sure Changa can get back in so he can introduce himself, tell everybody why he's here, he's running, and have that real conversation. Without further ado, the candidate for District 7, Walter Changa Higgins, number 5 on the ballot.
Hey y'all. Is it how many people in here? Just us, or how's this working? I don't know.
I think it's some more people in.
Oh, that can see it on like live or something like that. Can't hear you, Pam.
You've had about 3 or 4 people pop in, but they're not turning on cams.
Okay.
Okay, they need to
That's
turn
cool.
on cameras so we can see who they are and what they have to say.
Well, if they don't, that's fine. But if they want to ask a question, they need to. If they're going to participate, that's the way I would do it.
And then, too, they can always type the questions on the comment side, and I can put them on the screen.
Okay. I mean, some people might not be. We don't know. They might be in their underwear or whatever. But anyway, so how y'all doing? Like Tamara was saying, and Sade, like this is Changa Higgins, and I just wanted to really quickly like get on here tonight and just talk to the people, give people an opportunity to talk to me. There's been quite a few, how can I say, people who have told me that they're really undecided largely still in this race. Like there's so many people that they've been waiting to the end to figure out who they wanted. And I feel like there's going to be a big election day push. And a lot of people are going to show out an election day. The voter turnout's been low. So I wanted to take this opportunity to have a real conversation with people if I can. And I did share it through a few channels, but if you guys want to, share it through Reform Dallas, which they always got a lot to say, and other channels, other groups, please feel free to do that so people can jump on and we can have a conversation. Because and when I say a conversation, I mean a real conversation, right? Like as I've said on the campaign trail so many times, usually what we have every 2 years when it comes to elections is we have a one-way buyer-seller relationship with the candidates who are running for council. What I mean by that is the candidates are selling a product and the buyers are the voters. And usually it comes down to who can sell best, right? Like who can sell what they selling best. A bunch of promises, commitments, that things and actions that may not be ever realized, dreams, whatever they sell to us, right? But the end result is usually that we get someone down there in office that never really seems to like actualize on the promises, never really seems to make reality what it is that citizens and people in our neighborhoods and our communities actually want. And so we find ourselves with these question marks all the time when it comes to their voting records and why did they vote this way? And then when they begin to explain themselves, there's always some thing we don't know about that's so hard to do on city council. Like, oh, you got to know how to count to 8. And I had to make these compromises. And, oh, and what you guys don't understand is how hard it is. And you got to make friends. And I couldn't piss the mayor off. And, the people are kind of like, I understand all of those things. But at the end of the day, we wanted you to go hard for us, right? And we wanted you to stand up for us. We wanted you to speak for us. We wanted you to articulate our pain. We want you to articulate our problems. We want you to put us at the center. And that's usually what doesn't happen. And it starts here in the election process, right? When we get this one-way conversations where people talk, and tell us what they're going to do, and those conversations are wrong. And so part of getting Dallas unstuck, part of getting District 7 unstuck is to start having real intentional conversations that are two-way conversations. I do not know all the answers. I don't have all the expertise. All I do know is that the power comes when you have someone who understands that the people hold all the answers. They understand the problems. They understand how to fix them. And all they need is the space, the resources, and the opportunity to help fix those problems. And so when I say I'm radically different, that's how I'm saying I'm radically different, because we haven't had that in District 7, that type of idea about leadership in a long time, and in the city of Dallas. So I'm going to, get off of that spiel right there. And, anybody can ask me any questions that they want to ask me, whether it's about me personally. If I don't feel like answering it, if it's personal, I won't. But I mean, about, my philosophies, my plan, my agenda, my platform, and all that. A lot of people have said I don't have a platform, and I think that's BS. If you look at my website, there's a clear platform. If you listen to me on any forums or debates, a lot of them are recorded. You can listen to everything that I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing every time. My platform hasn't changed. And I will go even further to say that my platform, even though it is broad, what you see online, it's more in depth than a lot of the candidates' platform. And quite frankly, the incumbent doesn't even have a platform on his website. It just has his accomplishments that he's done over the last 2 years. So, I encourage any questions about that and any technical questions. So let's get down to the nitty gritty, about it. So, and have a real conversation. So, does anybody have any questions?
I do have something real quick that I want.
Make sure you put it up in the Streamyard thing where we can see it on the screen.
I don't know how to do that. I just wanted to ask about something.
I believe that Pam has to do that if she's the producer.
Okay. I wanted to know from you, like, why do local elections matter? Like, why are local elections so important, and why do they matter?
Well, okay. Yeah. I think that, well, first of all, there's no other political elected seat that has such a direct impact on your life than the local city council election, right? They are the ones who are over your tax dollars directly, on a local level, on a city level. They make decisions about how your community is developed. They make decisions on where resources are going to be allocated, in your community. And quite frankly, they are one of the only probably politicians that you can reach out and touch and live in your community somewhere, right? So the level of accountability because of proximity is higher than, you could say, a state rep or even a congressperson or, a president, right? And so you can reach out and touch these people. So I think that, they directly impact your life. Like, the city council person can make a decision tomorrow that could directly affect how you make money, how you're able to travel to your job, how you, how the police enforce laws in your and policies and ordinances in your community. Yeah. So I think that's why they're so important, is because they have the keys to very tangible things in your life that affect your life on a direct basis, like right now.
Thank you so much. I just I don't know if y'all can see me. Hey, Pastor Maxi. Johnson,
Maxi,
how are you?
how you doing, bro?
What's going on, baby? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. Just having a fourth quarter little chat, you know.
Well, we do. Yeah, man. That's what we
I'd
do.
like to take a moment to clarify. This can be seen on the Changa Higgins for Dallas page. Everyone doesn't have to come in the studio. Please stop giving that link. Then, if they have questions, they just type it in the chat. I will put it on the screen. Because right now, we got folks all in this. I don't think that they intended to be on camera. Please clarify. Just go to the Changa Higgins for Dallas page, and you can see the live there.
So, what is the link that they need to follow?
They go to the Facebook page. There is no link. It's showing through the page.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Pam. We appreciate that clarity. I know Streamyard is a pretty newer tool that we use to be able to stream live and out. You don't need the link unless you are a speaker or somebody that's going to be engaged in the conversation and answering questions. So again, we appreciate everybody for being here. But if you literally just click on the event, it will take it's streaming right now on our Facebook Live, and you can type in comments, concerns in the chat, and we can see them. They'll pop up, and then we'll be able to answer them as people ask questions. But again, thank you for that clarity, Dr. Pam, and we appreciate everybody joining us. Pastor Maxi Johnson, we know you are running in District 4. We appreciate you being on. And Changa Higgins for District 7. Two top endorsed candidates as well. So thank you, Changa, for clarifying why local elections matter. And then I'm going to mute, and I'll let you all answer the questions that are kind of.
I'm going to get on the Facebook post. But,
there is a question.
Yeah. Somebody.
Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. I'll answer that. I was wondering what that feedback is, though. We're hearing.
Yeah. How close are you and Tam? That could be the feedback. No,
we're not close at all. All right, so it's gone now. I don't know what's going on, but it's gone now. Okay, Miss Terry Williams, what do you plan to address in your first 30 days in your office? Public safety, house situation, etc. So in the first 30 days, I got a lot of ideas about what to do, but I know for one thing what I'm going to do is within the first 30 days of being in office, I'm going to have a listening session, right? Like, so I'm a design thinking and user experience professional, and I do a lot of user research. I do a lot of design research, and one of the things that they tell you, that we tell companies and organizations and people, is that you are not your user, you are not your constituent, you are not your community. You may have ideas and assumptions of what you think is real, but you really don't know, and you need to validate those assumptions by having real conversations with the people. So what I would like to do in my first 30 days is to step off of all of this usual stuff that a council person usually does when they start appointing people and putting all this stuff into motion before they even got real time to put any plans together. And what I plan to do is to have a listening session and identify the neighborhood leaders, the community leaders, the activists, the organizers, the movers, the shakers, the hustlers, the church leaders, the religious leaders, the business leaders throughout the district, and bring them into some listening sessions, bring them in for some brainstorm sessions where we can start talking about what the problems are, right? And from those listening sessions, what I want to come out of those listening sessions are some guiding principles for the district, right? Like some things that we can all agree upon across the district, right? About the issues that are most important for us. So that means Vicky Martin from Ferguson Road, and Daniel Wood from Buckner Terrace, and Pam Grayson from Dixon, Tamika DeRoe from Joppy, wherever, all sitting down in the room and let's finding out what are the common threads and what are the common problems that we have together, right? Because you can't really solve problems together unless you agree on what the problem is, right? You can't come to a solution. So I think that's something that's unprecedented. It's never happened before. And I think you need to start there. And so that would be the first thing that I do, is to have listening sessions, brainstorm sessions, and to actually dig in, right? And we're going to take people from across the district. A lot of the problem with our district is that we're siloed, right? So we got Far East, we got Buckner Terrace, we got Parkdale, Urbandale people, we got Joppy, Bunton, South Dallas, and a whole bunch of communities in South Dallas that all are kind of siloed. You know, like we don't talk to each other collectively. We might be talking to each other individually, but not necessarily collectively. So that would be one of the things that I would be doing, right? I'm a big proponent of the motto, you have to go slow before you go fast. And we need to stop, take some time, reset, and we all need to sit down and start having some conversations together about what it is problems we need to solve in the district, what problems are the most important to solve, right? Because then if everybody's in on the conversation, then we can start to talk about, well, you know, Buckner Terrace, that trail that you want ain't really quite as important as people having sidewalks in Joppy. You know what I'm saying? Like on the priority list, which one is most important, right? And so, you know, we can begin to have those conversations, but we have those conversations with everybody. So nobody feels like they're left out. And we can come up with solutions and priorities together and a game plan together.
Thank you, Terry, for asking that question. I hope it was answered to the best of your ability. If you have any further questions, I want to make sure that y'all know you can email Changa at changa4dallas@gmail.com. If you want to put that up, Dr. Pam, the email is changa4dallas@gmail.com, and you can call his campaign at 469-751-2239. I think we just had 2 people join. We have Tiara Cooper. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions or want to introduce yourself, you can go ahead and do that now. Thank you.
My apologies, you guys. I am in a noisy area right now and I cannot come on camera. But I had questions similar to the one that was asked previously. But in regarding has there been any listening sessions prior to your campaign? Because for me, I have no doubt that you will advocate for our community, tell it how it is, get us to a point where our voices are being heard. But I just want to make sure, like, some of the questions that I have regarding specifically formerly incarcerated individuals, that's the demographic that I am deepest tied to. But just being a native of South Dallas and longtime resident, having questions around the actual vision for D7, but it sounds like you answered that a little bit in the listening component of creating some form of a shared vision amongst one another is kind of what I'm pulling from that.
That's right.
But has any of that listening been done already, or is that kind of just the idea? Just I know we know COVID and everything else has happened.
Yeah.
So all I have to say is my question was kind of answered. I just want to reiterate it just in case.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I don't, I know I do some all the time, but they're with pockets of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people already, they joke about my meetings where we had the sticky notes out and all that kind of stuff. But I have them all the time. But something comprehensive like this, I don't think it's ever happened in the district. I have seen them happen in South Dallas years ago. I know we did when I was the chair of Unify South Dallas. That was in like 2008, 2007 to 2009. We did a bunch of listening sessions, right? But that was years ago. And But it is definitely time for us to be able to have them within specific communities, but then district wide as well.
Thank you. I think you pretty much answered my question, because I think just the grievance that we're having is, these decisions being made without us being a part of them. And I definitely believe you're the person who will be able to invite us into those spaces, and not only that, speak on our behalf in a way that we said it. Like, even your demands and just your platform, it hasn't changed. But I do feel like people need to watch that as it took place. So just thank you for all that you're already doing on behalf of the people. Not miscommunicating our message, not miscommunicating our demands, our needs, and what we see in our community. So thank you for what you've done already, and I look forward to what you'll do moving forward.
Hey, I look forward to working with you. I look forward to Sade and Tiara and Tabitha and all the amazing, really a lot of amazing Black women, you know what I'm saying, in our community that already do amazing work. Like, what's gonna happen when we can all sit down at the table and we got real access, right? We got a real seat at the table to really articulate and move and solve problems the way we want to. Like, that's gonna be a force of nature. And I think it's gonna be something that we're gonna see is gonna transform our communities really quickly once that happens. But whenever you get a group of Black women together to move on something anyway, mountains can move. But like, I'm excited about the possibility, particularly, and I'm going to represent the whole district, but particularly for South Dallas Fair Park, because for so long, being here almost 20 years, and I'm not a native of South Dallas Fair Park, but I feel like this is, it's where I would call more of home than anywhere for me in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And I have seen a lot of infighting. I've seen a lot of disunity. I've seen a lot of petty problems overriding like the real improvement of the community. Meanwhile, the community steadily was being depopulated, like people steadily leaving, schools steadily closing down, tax base steadily leaving, and the forces of gentrification just becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. So that's right, Michelle. I can't do it without y'all. Matter of fact, it's not going to get done without y'all, period. Like, you know what I'm saying? So history has shown that. So, yeah. So I think that, and I say this over and over, like, what South Dallas needs more than anything, after having elders and mentors and working with different nonprofits, working with different people, trying to get different initiatives and projects going, we need a unifier, right? Like right now, who we have as our incumbent right now, I've seen him exacerbate issues between different community groups and different people in the community instead of figuring out ways to dissolve those issues. But he really can't do that because he don't have enough context about the community to even be able to understand how to do that, right? And that's not his fault. I'm just saying he just doesn't have those skills, right? He hasn't been out here working in the trenches, and it has nothing to do with his ethnicity. It has something to do with being an organizer, being somebody who has had to wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night trying to figure out how to solve a problem in the community because it's directly related to their survival or their kids' survival, or the way that they're how they make money, or the safety of their community or the health of their community. That hit different when you're a person that has to do that kind of work, and you think different when you are that kind of person. And so he's just not equipped to do it, right? And I'm just gonna say it like this. Hey James, I'm gonna say it like this. I've been doing that for over 20 years, exactly. And so I think that one of my strong suits is that I've worked on building coalitions. I've taken a lot of time figuring out how to bring people together and engage people and keep people together who may not agree with each other. Like coalition building is some of the hardest organizing work to do because you got so many different forces of people, personalities, ideologies that you have to keep together around the table to make stuff happen. And so those skills are what a city council person needs to be able to unify South Dallas in order for us to create a comprehensive plans for us to be able to move, for us to be able to protect and preserve the social fabric that we do have left in South Dallas, because we've lost a lot, and South Dallas Fair Park has lost enough. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's my spiel on that. And I see Michelle in there, James in there. Represent. I love it. Thank you for coming on.
I have a question.
Yeah, come on.
I think it's like a two-part question, but okay. So you spoke on it briefly with Tiara's question as well as Miss Terry's question, but how do you plan on incorporating and making sure that community leaders, community activists, and community influencers' voices are heard at the Horseshoe, as well as making sure South and East Dallas parts of District 7 is at the Horseshoe, because we all know District 7 is separate. They mostly focus on Buckner Terrace, Dolphin Heights, and other places, but you don't really hear anything about Bunton, Turner Courts, East Dallas, South Dallas, Park Road, Fair Park, and things like that in these discussions. What are you going to do to ensure that their voices are incorporated and heard and represented?
Well, first of all, it's funny because, you know, I live over in the Far East, right? Like I used to live in South Dallas. On and off, I've lived in South Dallas, and mostly primarily I've lived over in the Far East for the past decade or whatever, right? But I still, most of my work I do is still in South Dallas. But it's funny because people over there think like we get all the attention over in South Dallas Fair Park, right? Like when you hear Buckner Terrace talk, you know, they swear up and down like Adam is giving all his attention to South Dallas Fair Park. But when you talk to people in South Dallas Fair Park, they like Buckner Terrace and Parkdale and all these other places where, you know, he lives at gets all the attention, right? And so, and I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm saying that that's more of a symptom of ineffective leadership that has not connected people together, right? Because when you got Buckner Terrace, Lakeview Terrace, you know, Claremont, all these different neighborhoods sitting down with the people in Joppy, right? And sitting down with the people in Buckner Terrace around the same table, talking about problems, then we can start to understand some commonality. Then we can start to hold that elected official accountable as well, too, right? Because everybody's in the room to hear what you got to say now. It's not you having a conversation with Ferguson Road, and then you coming over here to Joppy telling them something, or going to Bunton and telling them something. Now it's everybody in the room having that conversation, right? That's number one. Number two is, and I've said this over and over, like I plan on creating a real community and I might not call it a community advisory policy council. I think I might call it the People's Policy Council or the People's Council. And what it's going to be is it's going to be a table of community leaders from across the district, business. You know, we might even throw some police in there sometime. I'm just playing. Neighborhood leaders, nonprofits, all of the people who are working on the front lines on these issues in our community. I'm going to create a table, and these people are going to meet with me monthly. Do you hear me, y'all? We're going to meet monthly, and policy is going to come out of that committee. One of the things I'm going to do within the first 30 days of getting in office, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find me some money. I'm going to find me some money, whether it's private part. public and private, or a mixture of that, or if we got to do a GoFundMe. But I'm hiring a director of policy and community engagement. And what that person's job is going to be to do is to help me organize these listening sessions. They're going to help me get together who needs to be in the room, who are the people we need to be talking to that are on the front lines working on these issues across the district. And they're going to become my policy team. I'm not doing this all by myself. The idea in this community, in this city, that a city council person is supposed to know all the answers, have all the solutions, and it is supposed to put them together and make them reality all by themselves is BS. It has never worked. And if you talk to people like Marvin Crenshaw, he'll tell you they never set up 14-1. They never intended for it to work that way, right? But that's the way it's working, right? So we got to flip it on its head. And when I say a radically revolutionary, different way of being a leader, a leader that's a servant, a leader that's a facilitator, a leader that understands that his power, he doesn't know more than the people. He's not more powerful than the people. And he's nothing without the people, right? So those are the two things that the way that we will get to the bottom of that, right? And then what that will allow us to do, Sade, is to be able to say, look, y'all, we have all these problems. We got these solutions to solve them, but what's priority? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's priority? Y'all tell me what's priority. Like, we can go through exercises. I'm trained to do this. I take major, large billion-dollar corporations through processes and nonprofits and organizations to help them prioritize their problems and which ones they should solve first. So we can do the same thing with City Hall. You know what I'm saying? We can sit down. We can run this district together. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying when I say the rest of the folks in this race are coming with these cookie cutter answers, these cookie cutter solutions that don't work time and time and time again. I'm not saying they're not good guys. I'm not saying they don't love the community. I'm not saying that they won't work hard. What I'm saying is they're using old ass tools to solve problems that need innovation. They need new ways to solve the problems, to bring people together, to have conversations. And that's what I'm proposing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We recording
Go
this?
ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Pam.
Are we recording this?
I have a yes, Changa. Okay. It's I have a few questions. I'm not gonna hit you with them all at once. My key question is, Changa, I've supported you from day one.
Thank you.
I constantly tell anyone that will listen to me, you are the smartest candidate. I believe in you because you have the capacity to read, assess, and indulge data. I believe in you because you're incumbent. I can go at him on social media, and he has no better ability than to come down in the trenches with me and exchange barbs petally. I don't think you would be that easily brought down.
No.
That being said, now, one of my key concerns is Fair Park. I saw the direction that park is being taken. What I saw in the presentation was gentrification in a box.
Oh, yeah.
Our district has the worst health. Zip code has the worst health in Dallas County, and you want to give me a dog park and a bocce ball park? We don't play bocce ball. So in this meeting, I'm asking, who did you ask? Yeah. Bottom line is this. They are going to come and do the presentation in Dixon Circle. I've spoke to the few elders here in Dixon today. A couple of things I want to bring out. And I have to say, I feel this way too. I feel that nobody values us because don't enough votes come from over here. And I need to know as we move forward, I don't care what the outcome is Saturday. Are you still going to be here? Because I need you.
Well,
I need you to continue doing your work, even if you don't get that position. Will you do that?
Oh, we gonna get the position.
Yeah.
And he gonna keep working.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So unequivocally, yes, I will continue to work. You know, the way I look at it is, you know, this campaign has been already won, right? Hey, Bruce, this campaign has already won because we shifted the conversation, y'all. You know what I mean? Like, we've been able to come in here, and this was going to be business as usual in District 7 if I didn't jump in this race. But because I'm in this race, it has forced Adam Bazadua to change his language because he's been walking back from his progressive language. He's not the same person he was that folks voted for in 2019. He's not the same person that when a week or so of getting in office said, we want the state troopers out of here, and I'm doing what the people in my community told me that they want me to do, right? He's steadily walked himself back from being a progressive, or let's take the word progressive out. He's walked himself back from his stances that were more people-centered than they are profit-centered, than they are establishment-centered, and he seems to be worried more about being a career politician and his relationships with the other council people than doing what the people want. And let me tell you something, y'all. As the representative of District 7, there is no way that you're going to be friends with all the council, because the things that you are proposing go directly against the status quo, right? They go directly against what big development in this city want, right? To advocate on behalf of District 7 means you have to disrupt. It means that you have to have uncomfortable conversations about racism, about white supremacy, and how it has affected the decisions that have been made downtown in City Hall. You can't be friends with everybody to have those conversations and fight for this district. You just can't do it, right? And so if that's something that is a driving force, even Kevin Felder the other day, we were standing out in front of a Skyline library at a polling station, and he said, look, man, you know, you still gonna have to count to 8. You still gonna have to make friends and work with people. So I don't understand why, you know, you coming hard and everything, but you know, why you you know, you're not going to be able to get anything done. I said, look, I disagree that I'm not going to be able to get anything done, number one. Number two, I'm not there to make friends, right? My friends are the however many thousand people voted me into office. Those are my friends, right? Number two, I'm not worried about keeping my seat. That's not my driving motivation for getting down there in city council. I'm an organizer first. I represent my people first. I'm here to speak for the will of the people. I'm here to speak for the will of in the interest of my district and making my district better. So I'm not here to make friends. And that means it puts me in an uncomfortable place with the rest of the council, then so be it. That is my job, to be savvy enough, to be articulate enough, to be a good enough organizer to be able to say, to find common ground with people who don't like me or necessarily agree with me. And as organizers, all of y'all activists that I'm looking at on this call right now knows what that means, to have to go into face of opposition and figure out how to get solutions out of that problem, out of those people, right? Hey, Crystal. So I'm saying that's not my motivation, right? It's to be down there and make friends, to make sure the mayor likes me, to make sure North Dallas people like me, council people like me. It's there to get the job done for my people. It's there to get the job done for my district. And if it means I have to disrupt, have uncomfortable conversations, and educate while I'm doing it, that's what I'm gonna have to do. So it looks like Michelle has a question.
Thank you so much for answering that question, Changa. For Dr. Pam, I know we just had somebody pop in, the extraordinaire, business extraordinaire, Crystal
Crystal
Victoria. Thank you so
Victoria.
much for being here. And I also want to make sure that we get your question answered, but I want to shout out some people. I am so excited about everybody being here for this conversation, and just to chop it up with Changa about the real issues and his plans and why he's running. So, Pamela Young, I see you, girl. United Fort Worth is doing a thing. Keep it up, keep it up. Terry Williams,
Damn.
Michelle Anderson, what's up? Thank you so much for being here. James Holton, we have our St. Lucian sister in activism, Star Fire. Thank you for being here. And what's up, Anthony? How you doing?
What's up, Ant?
Thank you for being here. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows we appreciate your support. We appreciate you coming out tonight and just having a real conversation with the candidate, Changa Higgins. I see Stephen Benavides is here, Indiana Taylor, Bruce. What's up, Bruce? And again, just thank y'all so much. And I'll go ahead and let Crystal Victoria, I guess, ask her a question or introduce herself.
Oh, well, wait. Hey, but
I didn't have any questions.
Crystal, to Michelle's question too, though. But go ahead, Crystal.
I didn't have any questions. I was just tuning in. Was I supposed to come with questions?
You can.
I heard everything you said and I agreed. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, that everyone is doing. And so I'm grateful to be here and to support you. I think you're an awesome candidate. And so I'm ready to get down to business and get this election, get on the other side of this. But I think you're going to be great. And I look forward to all of the innovative solutions that are out there. And however I can serve and be of service, please let me know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we definitely going to need your expertise around the table when we're talking about, creating entrepreneurship and solutions. And so one of the things in my platform, if you read my issues and the things that I say that are important is community. When I say community-based business development, what I'm talking about is, okay, so I'm going across the district talking to people, and particularly in South Dallas, people are really worried about removal and gentrification, right? And one of the pillars that you have to have in order to stop gentrification is you have to have community-based businesses. It all can't be like big boxes and grocery stores and Starbucks and Raising Cane's that come into your community, right? To make your community sustainable and to keep the social fabric of the community. You got to have 3D cantinas. You got to have Village Bridge. You got to have, Southside Nutrition or, whatever, like just going down the list. You got to have the mom and pop chicken stores. You got to have, the carpenters and the electricians and all of that, right? In the community. Because they hire people. The number one employer of Black people is who? Black businesses, right? So if we don't have that in our community and we don't promote community-based business development, and what I mean by that is there are a lot of barriers. I talk to business people in our community. I talk to young people who want to be entrepreneurs. I talk to people who aspire to have businesses or have capital to put certain type of business in the community, and they're being handcuffed by zoning. They're being handcuffed by city bureaucracy. They're being handcuffed by, I would just say it, some of this stuff is stupid, like, because we see it actually happening in other parts of the city, but it can't happen in our part of the city. And one of the things I want to do is remove the barriers to, am I breaking up? Okay. Okay. Y'all let me know if y'all can't hear me. But remove those barriers, right? I talk to brothers every day. I talk to sisters every day in South Dallas Fair Park who say, man, I would love to have this kind of restaurant here or this kind of business here. But I can't, because the way that the PD is set up or the way the zoning is set up, I can't put that business here. But ain't no park, because of parking restrictions. But when you go to Lower Greenville or you go to District 2 or some other districts, and you go to Lower Greenville, ain't no parking, ain't nowhere to park. You know what I'm saying? You might ride around for 30, 40 minutes trying to find some parking. But you got every kind of business that you can think of down there in Lower Greenville, right? So if it's good enough for Lower Greenville, then it's good enough for MLK. If it's good enough for Deep Ellum, then it's good enough for Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying we got to change that, and we got to open it up so that people who got the courage and imagination to be entrepreneurs in our community can thrive here, because that's how you stop. That's one of the ways that you stop gentrification, is by having businesses that are thriving and that become community anchors in their community, that provide a way for people to have jobs and services in their community. So we don't want to forget Michelle's question, though. What was the question?
And shout out to Target Evolution as well. Let me go ahead and see what her question is. So Michelle wanted to ask, let me see.
It was about what am I going to do to, let's see, strategy to end disparities.
I'm sorry, I think I found it, but Dr. Pam, you might have to put this on the screen.
Yeah, she can put it.
It was about food deserts, and then we got another question about fresh produce or whatever. So a lot of people are interested to know about, the food deserts and disparities in District 7.
Well, look, I really think this is one of the easier problems to solve in District 7, right? Like, I think that, number one, we talk about food. There it is. What's your strategy to end food disparities in South Dallas? Can everybody hear me okay? Because I'm hearing like this weird squelch. Okay, not anymore. Well, I think this is one of the easiest problems to solve, but it takes some imagination, it takes some innovation, and it takes us looking to other cities, to things that work for communities that are similar to South Dallas, right? I think I just shared an article earlier about a community-based grocery store in Austin or San Antonio. There's so many models that work across the country that could be easily implemented in District 7. I'm talking about they don't take anybody counting the 8. There's already money in the city budget to be allocated towards some of this stuff. And we got people on the ground who are already doing the work that could, like, from day one, like, hit the ground dealing with food insecurity, right? So when we talk about what you hear the other candidates talk about is anytime we say food disparities and food deserts, what's the first thing they bring up? You were muted, Sade. What is it they bring up? They bring up grocery stores.
Yeah. Grocery stores and not having healthy food options and quality food, because like the Fiesta on MLK, their food is overpriced and it's never healthy and it be spoiled and stuff like that. And the Walmart on 30, their meat is just as bad. So we need better options, as well as the fact of, in order to get to a decent grocery store like the Walmart on 30, that's too far of a distance, especially for our elders in the community, or our people without vehicles. Yeah, you can't get a bus with a handful of groceries to come from South Dallas cross town to get to Walmart on 30 or somewhere else. It's not efficient.
Exactly. So I'm tired of hearing that the strategy for food disparity and food deserts in our community is trying to find a big grocery store chain to come in here, right? I think it's an old, outdated idea about how you fix problems in the community. I think that we can get more done by coming up with some community-based ways of feeding the community. So number one, there's so many innovative programs about like pop-up grocery stores, mobile grocery stores, co-ops that take yeah, they really excited about the new grocery store in East Dallas, but it ain't I mean, it's a grocery store, right? And so what happens when that grocery store is bottom line or they want to pull out, right? And they're the only resource in the community providing healthy food, right? But now all of a sudden they say, oh, there's not enough rooftops to support this. Or theft, right? We had so much theft, even though all that theft is insured. I used to be a manager at a grocery store. Even though all that theft is insured, you know, you're using theft as a reason for why you're pulling out of a community. What? So 10 years from now, after the subsidy is gone, your profit margin is gone, and you hit your tipping point. Now you're ready to pull your store out of the community. We back in the same situation. I believe that 10 years could be spent developing community-based solutions to food disparities in that community. And if one of those pop-up grocery stores, or if one of these community co-op grocery stores scales and becomes very successful, then it can grow into becoming a large supermarket organically. You understand what I'm saying? But there's so many different ways that we can solve that problem that aren't based in, you know, the city of Dallas's way of solving those problems. And so we got so many amazing people on the ground doing so much. And another thing we need to do is, there's so much green space in the southern sector. There's so much green space in District 7. There is no reason why we can't get all of the great programs that we know that that have great programs that are growing food right now and feeding the community. We can scale those programs like within one season with the kind of land to be able to really make an impact and feed people on a large scale with some of this land that's out here. You know what I mean? Imagine if you gave players from Oak Cliff Veggie Project 50 acres of land that's just sitting out there. How many people could he feed on a regular basis? You know what I'm saying? Like, but we got to remove the barriers to be able to do that. And so I think we already got the answers to that. We got amazing people that are already trying to solve these problems, that got the know-how. We just need to put them to work, right? We need to bring them in to the city's infrastructure, get them some money, get them some resources, reallocate some resources so that they can actually deal with some of these problems organically, right? If we scaled and we use some of this green space we got in District 7 to scale up some growing programs, then you'd have enough food to stock a grocery store or a small pop-up grocery store. And the food would be cheaper than it is at Walmart or Fiesta. I've seen it. You know, I've seen it in other cities where you go in and it's like, how is this co-op able to make this food at 50% of what it is at Walmart? Well, we know why, right? Because it's coming directly from the community. It's locally sourced. And what does that do? It helps the economy. It's all local. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many ways that it can win. So I think we can solve that. I think that's one of the problems we can begin making a direct impact into overnight. Like, I'm not overnight, but very quickly, you know, within months of being in office.
One of the options for the park is to do a farmer's market at Fair Park when they're talking about redoing it. And I think that's something that we really need to push for as a community.
Hey, can real quick, Pam, can y'all just take a minute and share this in like Reform Dallas, Black Dallas?
I already did.
Okay, some of them neighborhood associations that got so much to say about my platform and what I'm about, and they ain't never heard of me, like Urbandale, Parkdale, and Buckner Terrace, and some of the parts of the district in the east that say that I'm all about South Dallas and whatever. They need to hear. They need to be a part of this conversation, not just hear what I got to say, but they need to come in here and ask questions. So y'all share with anybody y'all think that's important, you know. But you asked about Fair Park, Pam, and I personally think that, you know, over 10 years ago, as part of Unify South Dallas, we started injecting the idea of community benefits agreements into the conversation with developers in Dallas, and it was like we were, you know, trying to put garlic on a vampire or something, right, to the city. Because basically what community benefits agreement does is, before you can develop in the community, you have to have a steering committee or a group of stakeholders that are based from the community that help you drive the way that community is going to be developed, so you don't gentrify it, so you put controls in to offset rising taxes. You make sure there's set asides for jobs, right, that come from that community. You can even have things in there about policing, how they're going to police in your community, because you think they're going to put that big old development over there in Fair Park and it's not going to have a direct relationship to how the police start patrolling the areas around it to protect it, quote unquote, protect it, right? So what's going to happen? What usually happens is to keep the area safe so that folks who are scared anytime otherwise to come down here, they will begin to use the police and weaponize the police to go in and drive people out. Now, this corner store where all these people hang out is a problem. It's a nuisance. Now, this place over here has a high level of crime, and they start using data to justify closing businesses down, right? Which I don't necessarily agree with. I feel like we do have a lot of bad actors, like in certain parts of our community, not just in South Dallas, but in a lot of parts of our community. We got convenience stores and different property owners that let a lot of BS go on in our communities, right? But I'm not for taking data and weaponizing code and weaponizing police to shut down businesses. You know what I'm saying? I want businesses to get their act together and be part of revitalizing the community. And if you can't, then you need to get out because somebody else can take your place. You know what I'm saying? But I think that we definitely need some community benefits agreement that is made up of the people of South Dallas Fair Park about how that development goes forward, right? And that's something that I would be pushing for.
Okay, thank you, Changa, so much. I know we had a question from Anthony Lazan, and it's on the screen. It says, I see a big push to get the Black and brown vote all around the city with fruits bearing. How do we get young, white, affluent residents of Dallas involved in local politics? How do we get the young professionals that still don't value council races, municipal races, to join this conversation?
You know what, bro? What's up, Ant? That's a good question, man. And I don't know if I actually know the answer, because particularly young, white, affluent residents of Dallas, a lot of them are just here until they start their families, right? And then they move out. So they're really disconnected. They just want to live in the urban core. They're not necessarily here, and they don't look at this as their community. They don't look at it as their home, right? They might move downtown, or they might move into an area because it's cool, and because of the look, or, they want to be close to the nightlife and all that kind of stuff. But what I found from a lot of young, white, affluent folks is they have no connection to community here. So I think you would have to start there, right? Like, how do you pull them in to feeling connected to the community? And the bigger question is, how do people who are disconnected to the community, how do you make them feel like they're connected to the community or give a damn about the community they're in when they don't have any long-term investment in being there? You know what I mean? And so I don't really know how we deal with that. The only thing I know is that politics works when you're talking to issues that people actually care about, that give a damn about, right? Like, we talk a lot about engaging. We have less than 10% or 6% of the voting population that actually votes in Dallas, and we do a lot of shaming and talking crazy about those people. But look, y'all, the reality is that the Dallas City Council is so disconnected from the everyday pains, problems, struggles, fears, and joys and aspirations of working families, working poor, marginalized communities, Black, brown, LGBTQ, whatever. They're so disconnected from it that it is directly related to how many people actually vote in these elections, right? Most people, the average person is spending too much time working at a job that don't even pay living wage to even worry about what me and Adam Bazadou are talking about. That's just the real deal. You know what I'm saying? And so until we start to give a damn, until we start to talk about things that are relevant to the everyday lives of the people that are in the community, you're not giving them a reason to go vote, right? I can't expect some of my friends who I know, I got friends who get up in the morning, go work at UPS in the morning, pushing boxes around FedEx, right? Which I've done that kind of work when I was a young man in college, and I would not be doing it in my 40s. Go push boxes around and then go work at Williams Chicken all night. Man, come on. You want that man to care about going to go vote, to take time out of his day to go vote. And how do you get him to go vote? How do you get him to go vote? If you're not talking about living wages, if you're not talking about his record and how to get people who got felonies, and it might be nonviolent drug offenses or have been arrested and are fighting misdemeanor low-level offenses that are costing them money, costing them jobs, costing them access to being able to have driver's license and stuff like that. If you're not talking about how he can thrive, then why should he go vote? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not giving him a reason to vote. We're not giving that sister who got 3 kids at home and she doing everything right and she work at a call center. You know what I'm saying? Working poor, basically, working poor. And she got to worry about getting them kids fed every day, get them to school, make sure they stay alive. You know what I'm saying? And take care of all of them and take care of herself at the same time. Why should she go vote? We ain't talking about no. We talking about defunding the police. We talking about economic development. We talking about affordable housing that's really not affordable. I mean, these are the conversations. We're talking about how we need more police on the street. We're talking about how to have better economic development and code enforcement. That's what the range of things that you hear from my opponents in this race when they're talking about things, right? These are the things that they're talking about. Why should she go vote? That's totally disconnected from what's going on in her life. We're not talking about her getting health care for them kids because she probably ain't getting none from her job. We're not talking about how she makes more money to have a living wage so she can actually take care of them and maybe one day send them to school or whatever. We're not talking about any of the things that are relevant to her life, right? And so until we flip that around on its head, until we start talking about things that are real and tangible to people on the ground, I don't expect them to go vote. But when I get in that seat, we're going to be talking about those things. You hear me? Those people are going to be coming down to City Hall. Those people are going to be, you see how, you notice like when somebody in Chad West District or Jennifer Starbucks District, you know, when the constituents got a problem, they have no problem coming in there having a full briefing and let everybody in the city council and everybody that's listening and watching the city council meeting got to listen to what their pains and their anger and what problems they have about the way it's going down in their community. And they do that for their constituents. You hear me? Well, our constituents are in pain. Our constituents are suffering with over policing. My constituents are suffering with low wage jobs. My constituents don't have health care. My constituents live in communities that are environmentally unsafe. Those are the things that I'm going to be highlighting when I get in office. You understand what I'm saying? That's what my constituents need me to do. And that's not what we're getting enough of right now, enough people-centered conversations. But I know I'm long-winded. Let's go to some more questions.
You were speaking about businesses coming to like South and East Dallas and the PD preventing that. So what are you going to do about these PDs stopping businesses from opening and South Dallas and East Dallas continuing to have the same businesses over and over that we don't need because of that PD? Are you going to rewrite it? Are you going to re-examine it? What is your strategy to change that?
Okay. Well, before Adam got in the office, I think the week he got in the office, I called together a meeting, and it was with a lot of people normally don't sit in a room together, like Hank Lawson, Gerald Brett, Diane Ragsdale, I think Tabitha Wheeler, a lot of people who have influence and are stakeholders in the process around how our communities develop and some of these business, the PD and whatever. And the thing that we were going to be talking about is how we redo that PD, right? We decided not to invite Adam because we needed to have some conversations first, right? And so we did it. But Adam never continued those conversations. We told him that we wanted somebody who we trusted and who we felt like was a subject matter expert and came from the community to be over the zoning and planning, and that was Tabitha Wheeler, right? He didn't put her, he did not put her as his appointee. Fine. But it don't take 2 years to fix a PD. And we've been waiting for 2 years for some real substantial, tangible moves to be made on that PD. I personally think it needs to be rewritten. There's some bureaucracy around that. I think we can get some business leaders together. We can get some people who are subject matter experts. Even some of the people who serve on boards right now currently have expertise that we need. We bring them together and we figure out and people who help to create the PD initially in the way it is, and we figure out what the problems are with it. What's good about it, take that meat out, throw the bones out, and reimagine the whole damn PD.
Okay, could you please explain what a PD is for folks that may not know?
All right, so do I have to do that, or somebody want to help me do that?
You're going to do it.
All right, so y'all act like I got all the answers. I told you I'm not going to have all the answers, but I do know. It's basically, I wish Tab was here because I'd let her go off on that. But it's basically a set of requirements and regulations about things related to certain types of businesses in communities, right? So our PD and our zoning is set up to where you ever notice how we really don't get much more than like smoke shops, chicken shacks, let's see, what time is it? Y'all have to time check me. Beauty salons or whatever. A lot of that is because the parking requirements around in the PD and the way things are zoned that won't allow other types of businesses to be there. So if you wanted to have a sit-down restaurant in South Dallas, you can't if you can't build certain types of parking lots, or if you don't have the space to do it, because the requirements are set up where you can't do it unless you have a certain amount of parking spaces, right? Now, we know that's BS, because when you look downtown, when you look at other landlocked and older parts of the city, like Lower Greenville and other places that are landlocked with old buildings and don't have a lot of places to develop, they're able to get around these, right? People actively rewrite their PDs. People actively go in and change those in order to be able to work for what they're trying to do in those communities. And so that's an example of what's there. You know, I had a conversation with a business owner on Martin Luther King who wanted to put a rooftop deck on his building. Got a daiquiri shop over there. He can't do it because of the way the PD is set up. I mean, I would like to kick it on the rooftop of Martin Luther King. Would you?
Yes, sure would.
Yeah.
Because I was on the rooftop downtown. But one thing I think you need to know, like I said, I've been around all day in the neighborhood, going to different people and discussing different things. It is assumed wholeheartedly here that when it comes to things like zoning and code enforcement, there is discrimination.
Oh, yeah. It's very discriminatory.
You have somebody down the street in this rural area that is running a mechanic shop from his home. He has cars parked in the front, cars parked in the back. There's a house across the street that has taxes or a tax lien. He paid $1,200 on a $13,000 tax lien, and now he's parking cars over there too. Now, code enforcement was told. I'm down there. I'm getting ready to take pictures to take it to code enforcement myself. Now, the black lady down the street got almost $700 in fines because she has failed to paint one wall.
Yep. Why? We got to ask our
And they've called Adam Basildua.
Yeah.
He didn't return their calls.
Yes. So look, we always talk about code enforcement, and when and I'll try to answer real quick because it sounds like we got some trivia questions y'all want to ask me. I'm down with that. But we always talk about code enforcement in one way and how it affects our community. But these doors, I've been knocking on hundreds of doors throughout South Dallas Fair Park. And what I found is people are complaining that code enforcement is being weaponized against them to remove them from their homes, right? I'm talking about legacy homeowners, people who have had their homes, their grandparents, and people built those homes. Code is being weaponized against these people, and you cannot tell me it's not, because I'm listening to their stories and I see the pattern in their stories, right? So you hear of things like this, like a whole salvage yard mechanic shop down the street, and then code is actually picking on some old lady who can't afford these fines for her house for some BS, right? And so one of the things we got to do is, you talked about data earlier, and I want to do an analysis. I want to do a study on code, like, and how it's being enforced in our communities. Who's being penalized? Who's being hold on, I need to. Who's being penalized? What do they look like? Who, you know what I mean? In our community, across the district, who's getting code? Who's being enforced? Who's not getting enforcement? Right? And then how much are people paying? Right? I want to do an analysis on that because I think it's discriminatory, and I think code enforcement has been weaponized to take homes and remove people or properties that have been deemed problematic in our community, right? And so it's got to stop, right? I met a brother who was working on his house when I knocked on his door, and he was a young brother, and he had the same name as his grandfather. I was there to talk to his grandfather, but his grandfather was very old, and he actually told me, my grandfather he's passed, but I still register. I still, when people show up to the house, I still answer the door like I'm him. And they're like, well, you're old and whatever. He's like, but this is my grandfather's house. He built it, and the city trying to take it from him. And the way they're trying to take it from me is they're hitting me with all these code violations. And what they don't know is, like, I own my own IT company, so I can pay all these fines like all day long. But he was like, what they're trying to do is wait until I can't pay him anymore, and then taxes, they can take my house, right? And so we had a long conversation I've had that conversation at least 6 times in the last month with people.
And let me add to that something else. I'm big on education. That is one thing I'm going to ask occur with this Fair Park change. We need to educate these homeowners to prevent gentrification. They think when they pass on, it automatically goes to their descendants. That is not true.
No.
You have to have a will, or it goes into probate, and Texas gets its little grubby hands all over your property.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good stuff. I just want to make sure my I don't have my charger with me, and my system might cut out on me in about 5 or so minutes, but I know we trying to wrap up here, but it looks like some trivia questions. What? Okay.
All right. So again, we appreciate everybody coming out. If I did not shout you out, charge it to my old head, not my heart. I know we had some more people show up. Lauren Baker, we see you. Thank you for being here. DeAndre Willis, thank you for the questions. Thank you all for being here. We are about to wrap it up. I'm glad you all could come out tonight and have a real conversation with meaningful feedback, real questions. You got real answers, and you can make your decision before Election Day. Please get out and vote. May 1st, the polls open at 7 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. We need you. Your vote matters. Our vote matters. And we want you to be involved and get involved in the process. And you took that step by even being here tonight. Pass along this information. Share this live Streamyard and to whoever you would like, because we do have to make a decision by election day. So we're going to end here. We got some questions for Changa. Let's see. We have some how black are you questions. I'm just playing. But no, these are just some trivia questions for him. So Changa, which song is playing multiple times at the cookout? And this could be your family's cookout or any cookout you've been to. Rock With You, Michael Jackson. Cha-Cha Slide, Mr. C, The Slide Man, or Before I Let Go, Frankie Beverly and Maze.
My cookout, I know Frankie Beverly and Maze is gonna play. I know Rock With You better play one time because I'm gonna be grooving on that. Cha-Cha Slide, we can get some Cha-Cha Slide, in there too. But definitely, I think out of all of those, I would say Frankie Beverly and Maze, So
All right. So we're gonna be jamming to Frankie Beverly and Maze. We got one more. We got one more question for you, Changa. And that is, which of these unwritten black laws applies to you most? Don't cut my name out the cake. Say a word. No, don't cut my name out the cake. The next one is, say a word twice to emphasize its meaning. The next one is, if everyone else starts running, I'm running too. The other one is, no snitching. And the last one is, whenever you ask for something, your mom replied, people in hell want ice water.
Of all the unwritten black rules, and anybody around me, they know this about me. If everybody else stop running, I'm running. I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in the 80s in the hood. Take out running. I'm running first. We figure it out later. I'm going to run. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
All right. Well, again, everybody, Changa, thank you so much for your answers. And we know you said that the black law is you gonna run too, but that goes right into why we're here, because we know you running so you can win. So vote for Changa Higgins on May 1st. Again, we thank you for being here. We thank you for coming out, and we hope to see you again and see you at the polls. We will see you on May 1st. Bye, everybody. Go ahead.
Just a quick note. The elders in the community that normally do a mail-in ballot are telling me they never got them. So please check with your elders. Make sure to take them to the polls on Saturday. Because I'm preparing to take folks to this poll. I paired up a couple, so they're going to go together. But they're telling me they didn't get the mail-in ballots that they normally use.
And we do have a ride share set up. It's online on our on Changa's website, www.changafordallas.com. We do have ride share set up. We also have people that will help you create get a ride, a safe ride. You ain't gotta waste your gas. We can pick you up, get you back home safely so you can exercise your vote. So definitely be checking in on the campaign page and on social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, because we do plan on making sure that we get people to the polls. All right, Changa, do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up tonight?
Push it out to some of our neighbors in the east part of the district. We don't want it to all be South Dallas specific or, one community specific. So I would love to do this again. I mean, we can do this tomorrow night too, as kind of like a election night eve party for anybody who's still undecided or just want to chop it up. We should have been doing this all along. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the questions and y'all coming in and asking, and let's keep the conversation going.
All right. See y'all later.
All right, y'all take it easy.
Y'all take it easy.
Bye.